All right, I am live. Welcome to the Barely Protestant YouTube channel. I'm Father James, and if you are uh, noticing the hair, yes, I that was a funny story. So last week, I actually had a haircut, and I asked for the lady to cut my hair down to half an inch, and she misunderstood, thinking meant like the half level of a clip. So my hair is now cut down to all that, and I usually would keep my hat on over it to cover it, but I left my hat at home today. So, yes. Anyway, the video today is well, first, okay, yes, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Now that's out of the way. The video today is an issue that I come across constantly when it comes to online dialogue and debate. There is this accusation of people making informal fallacies, or they'll just call them logical fallacies. So the logical fallacy, oh, that's an ad hominem, therefore it is wrong. Or that's a straw man, or that's a, this or that. And this is often done by people who don't seem to understand exactly how fallacies work, both formal fallacies and informal fallacies. So I want to go over the nature of fallacies and what makes an informal fallacy fallacious versus what makes it just being a sort of statement. So I'll give one example, one that seems to be, I would say, pretty obvious, or should be pretty obvious. There is a fallacy called the ad hominem attack, the ad hominem fallacy, which is a an attack upon the person, the character of a particular person, um, in order to sort of discredit their views. However, just because you attack somebody uh, doesn't mean you're doing so to discredit their views, and definitely doesn't mean that therefore they are right. And I've seen all ranges of this. So suppose I am in the heat of an argument saying, well, you're a jerk, you're an idiot, or something like that. um, if the person responding to me then says, oh, ad hominem fallacy, therefore I am right, uh, or ad hominem, therefore your argument is wrong. Well, I haven't made an argument. All I have said is you're an idiot, or you're stupid, or you're a jerk, or whatever. That doesn't indicate that there is an actual argument being made by me. Sorry, someone knocked on the door, and I have it locked, so hopefully no one will come in. Uh, okay, it's kids coming in. All right, it's locked for a reason. So yes, yes. Lost my train of thought. All right, so the point being that there's a difference between a fallacy that incorporates something like an ad hominem, or we'll get into some others, versus that problem of the ad hominem, which is not nice. It's not nice to call someone a jerk necessarily, but that doesn't mean that an argument they're making that is even attached to it, because it could be attached to it, doesn't mean that it's wrong. I'll give one that's a bit more murky, but it's still actually a good point. So, if I am calling someone a liar, that's not a nice thing. That's an attack on the person's character. However, if I'm using that argument, or that information that someone is a known and proved liar, to say therefore we can't trust them, that actually is fine. That's not a problem. If that person has demonstrated repeated issues with honesty, it is not logically fallacious, or it's not fallacious, I should say. It's not fallacious to then therefore say, I have reason to doubt you. Um, so with all this understood, I want to go ahead. Let's see if I can share the screen share. I should have prepared this beforehand. Okay. Chrome tab. Now this is the one that I get all the time. I just want to make sure yep, there we go. This is the one I get all the time. And I used to follow this website all the time myself. And I'm not saying that the website is necessarily bad, but I want to go through a few of these to sort of give examples. So let's look at this first one. Or actually, let me see if I can find the ad hominem one. We're going to go through a few of these in a second. Slippery slope, ad hominem, there we go. Your logical fallacy is ad hominem. You attacked your opponent's character or personal traits in an attempt to undermine their argument. Ad hominem attacks can take the form of overtly attacking someone or more subtly casting doubt on their character or personal attributes as a way to discredit their argument. Now, again, there are points in which this is a fallacious argument. So it could be that I'm trying to discredit them by undermining them by showing, oh well, this person has bad character, this man is, he's stolen before, therefore we can't trust the argumentation that he's making, or things that are not quite relevant or not as relevant to the arguments itself. So the point being that it has to be done fallaciously. Just pointing out that someone has made a character attack does not mean that they've made a logically fallacious argument. Pointing out character attacks is not the same exact thing. So the example that they give here is, after Sally presents an eloquent and compelling case for a more equitable taxation system, Sam asks the audience whether we should believe anything from a woman who isn't married, was once arrested, and smells a bit weird. So this is a valid understanding of a problem with the ad hominem fallacy. And in fact, I don't mind this website as much. The issue I have with it is I wish that they would show examples that are not logically fallacious, of an ad hominem or to the man or things like that, or ad hominem or other things like that. Whoops, let's get back here. So let's go ahead and look at this false cause. False cause. You presumed that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other. Now, here's an issue where it comes to the question of science, due to the fact that in many senses, we would have to say that any interactions between physical matter could be accused, if you go far enough with this, could be accused of being a false cause fallacy. There is no purely logical reason to believe that in me throwing this, it was stopped by, I don't know if you saw that in the screen because I can't see myself right now, but me throwing this to my wallet, it was stopped by my wallet. It could be 100% a pure coincidence that this thing could go, like it could be 100% purely the fact that this thing actually could go through, but it just so happened to stop at that point for any number of other reasons. Strictly logically speaking, there's nothing logically necessary about the idea of this being unable to go through this at that speed. The point being that we've built up assumptions based upon what we've seen in physics, which is perfectly fine. The point is that it is perfectly fine. But strictly speaking, you could claim that is a false cause logical fallacy. And the point being that we have to be able to make assumptions like that. There's no problem in making particular assumptions. Just like technically, yes, the person who is an habitual liar, who is saying that, I didn't break the vase, when we see that the person has lied habitually about this sort of stuff, and if we have other corresponding evidence and all that sort of stuff, that doesn't prove necessarily that that person did break the vase and is lying about it. But that's pretty good evidence, that the fact that we can't trust the evidence that we can't trust what he's saying is not evidence enough itself. But the fact that, like, if there's other corresponding evidence as well, you can't just simply dismiss, well, he's a habitual liar. That being the point there. Well, let me go ahead and look at these right now. Dude, your hair. Hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you very much, Joseph. I think, I don't know if you heard at the beginning, but I gave an explanation of the hair thing. Anthony, have recently come to be a fan of your channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to go through a few others, and I don't want to keep this one a long video. I just want to point to a few different things on this. All right. I don't know why it does that. All right. Nope. Okay. We did ad hominem already. No true Scotsman. This one is another one that I see oftentimes. No true Scotsman. You made what could be called an appeal to purity as a way to dismiss relevant criticisms or flaws of your argument. In this form of faulty reasoning, one's belief is rendered unfalsifiable because no matter how compelling the evidence is, one simply shifts the goalposts so that it wouldn't appeal to a supposedly true example. This kind of post-rationalization is a way of avoiding valid criticism of one's argument. Example, Angus declares that Scotsmen do not put sugar on their porridge, to which Lachlan points out that he is a Scotsman and puts sugar on his porridge. Furious, like a true Scot, Angus yells that no true Scotsman sugars his porridge. All right. Now, the point being that that there are quite a few things going on into play here. We can talk about a sort of purity of, for instance, Christianity. Now, there are certain appeals to tradition, to the scriptures themselves, etc., that sort of demand that particular beliefs be held by Christians. Now, if I were to say no Christian denies that Jesus is God, and then you say, well, here's this person who claims to be a Christian and he denies that Jesus is God. And I say, no true Christian, actual Christian, denies that Jesus is God. Now, is that the no true Scotsman fallacy? No, because there is a definition of Christianity that puts anyone who denies the deity of Christ outside of that circle. All right. And then if we want to, now this is what's done by a lot of more liberal secular scholars as well, or by liberal secular scholars, what they will do is they actually make it to where Christianity is so widely defined that you can name anyone, literally just about anyone, a Christian. And in fact, as long as they self-identify as one, that sort of comes, that's how it, but then we see this a lot with like the transgender movement too. No woman, no true woman kind of thing, no true woman, Scotsman woman thing. There becomes a problem where we allow these sort of everything to be a definition. I hope I didn't block enough there. Everything just sort of fit within the definition. And again, there is such a thing kind of as a no true Scotsman fallacy. The point, though, is that saying the words no true Christian or no true woman or no true man, etc., saying those words does not mean that you've committed the fallacy. And that's kind of the heart of what I'm trying to get at right now. There's a difference between pointing to a fallacy here and saying, you just said no true whatever. And it happens to be that this is a fallacy. The way that you're using that is fallacious. That is different from saying, oh, you said no true Christian, no true whatever. Therefore, because you said that, you are making a fallacious argument. Let's see if I can find one more. I don't want to, again, belabor the point. Let's see. Middle ground. Texas sharpshooter. And I could use examples with each and one of these, but there's one I was wanting to point to specifically. Oh, here it is. Appeal to authority. That was the one I was thinking of. Appeal to authority. This one happens a lot. All right. Appeal to authority. This one is misused a lot, I should say. You said that because an authority thinks something, it must therefore be true. I would say this is one of the weakest forms of the informal fallacy accusation. This one gets abused probably the most. It's important to note that this fallacy should not be used to dismiss the claims of experts. You see, it even has one here, so good for the website. To dismiss the claims of experts or scientific consensus. Appeals to authority are not valid arguments, but nor is it reasonable to disregard the claims of experts who have a demonstrated depth of knowledge unless one has a similar level of understanding and or access to empirical evidence. However, it is entirely possible that the opinion of a person or institution of authority is wrong. Therefore, the authority that such a person or institution holds does not have any intrinsic bearing upon whether their claims are true or not. Example, not able to defend his position that evolution isn't true, Bob says that he knows a scientist who also questions evolution and presumably isn't a primate. So the point being that, yes, it is actually good to cite authorities, to cite experts, and in many ways to rely upon them, because I cannot get a PhD in every single field whenever I have a debate. It takes a few years and quite a bit of money, So the problem is with the idea that because I'm citing an authority, therefore I'm saying necessarily that I am right and you're wrong. It's a bit more than that. You cannot just do that. Yes, but citing an authority, an expert in the field, or especially the consensus of the field, that can be pretty powerful. That is powerful evidence. And it's not a zero sum game. It's not like either you have no evidence for your position or you have conclusively proved your position and everything else is a logical fallacy. That's not how things work. That's not how logical fallacies work. You need to understand that when you are, thinking that someone is making a logical fallacy, you have to do the hard work of saying, okay, how is it logically fallacious? Don't rely upon, oh, this kind of corresponds to an appeal to authority. This kind of corresponds to an ad hominem. This kind of corresponds to a genetic fallacy, etc. No, you have to say, okay, there are things that look like they could be an informal fallacy, but I have to ask myself, are they actually fallacious? And how and why are they fallacious? You need to understand why an appeal to authority being done fallaciously, why it's being, like, what that means for it to be done fallaciously. And you need to be able to distinguish that from just an appeal to authority that's not being done fallaciously. You need to distinguish between an ad hominem that is being done fallaciously from an ad hominem that's being done just because they're like frustrated with you and they're saying, oh, you're a jerk kind of thing. Anyway, this is a bit of a shorter video, I think only about 15 minutes long or so. I hope you all understood that. I hope you all enjoyed this little help. God bless you all. I hope you have a good evening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that stuff. I would like to jump up a little bit higher in my subscriptions and all that, the subs and everything. But anyway, God bless. Oh, Patreon too. I can't forget the Patreon part. Please subscribe to the Patreon if you are interested in supporting this ministry. God bless.